My name is Chris with Headlight Revolution, and at Headlight Revolution, we really love Vision X stuff. We love it so much that we bought a new Superduty just to put a ton of Vision X lights on it. Now, we've got the ADD, Addictive Desert Designs chase rack on the back of this truck. We've got the Vision X grill up front. But in this video, I'm specifically showing you what we did on the roof of this thing. We've got the Vision X XPR light bars. They're some of the longest reaching, brightest light bars on the market today. We've got Vision X Optimus pod lights, and we've got just a lot of stuff going on the roof. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna show you guys some of the highlights of installing it, including doing some of the wiring, some of the mounting, how we got the bars where they are, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's all powered up. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we had to take care of was drilling some holes in the metal here so that we could mount our lights to it. We're running the Vision X Optimus pod lights here. The reason we went with that is they match the light bar real nice. They're the same optic style. They got that cool halo backlighting that we love. We're gonna actually run all that off its own switch. And so as you can see here, we're just drilling a larger hole to mount that stud through. As you can see, I had to get really close to these slots for these holes. It's pretty much centered in the hole. The light has a lot of adjustability, but in this case, I actually went into the slot a little bit. It's not a big deal. If you make it too big and it's like kind of sloppy, you could honestly use a bigger washer or something. It's not the end of the world. Once these lights are in there, they're not going anyplace. I love the adjustability that these brackets have, these new Vision X Optimus lights. They've got almost an inch of forward and backward adjustability. That's really nice. That light just fits perfect in that opening. We just got done installing the Optimus lights on the side. We're doing a total of 6 of those, a mixture of spot and flood. And now we're putting the XPR bars up on the front, the XPR series light bars from Vision X. These are some of the longest reaching light bars on the market today. They're absolutely unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it. They reach over a half mile down the road. Insane. And we're gonna do 2 of them, because 2 is 1, 1 is none, right? You gotta have 2 of everything. So, I've got my friend Dusty here. He's gonna help me install this thing. If you've got a helper available to you, I suggest you use them because these things are heavy, and this particular truck has a big sunroof, and the last thing we wanna do is send this light bar through our beautiful sunroof. Now I'm going to snug these up in the shop, but I'm not going to go too crazy tightening them because we still have to aim them. And since it's such a focused beam light bar, the last thing that you want to do is get them super tight and then get out into the field or onto a long stretch of highway and realize, oh, I'm shining in the treetops or I'm shining down at the ground, you know? So snug them up, don't go too crazy, save that for the final fine tuning of the light bar. Now at this point you can go ahead and run your wiring back. We ran our wiring for both the front bars and the pods back into the storage area of the Addictive Desert Designs roof rack. The cool part is they give you these cutouts in the slats, the support bars going across, that allows you to run the wire in a clean way and keep it out of the wind, keep it from flopping around. That's the last thing we want. These Optimus lights and these XPR light bars from Vision X have a built-in halo that you need to connect to. And what we did for that is just bunch the wires together and attach one wire to them. The reason for that is we don't need to run a ton of wiring for all these things, man. We have about 8 of them up here. We don't need to run 8 wires. They hardly draw any current. We're just going to run one wire up, connect it to all of them, and run it off one switch. It's going to work real nice. As you can see here, we're soldering the bundle up to that one single wire, and we're going to run that up with our Vision X light bar wiring to the upfitter switches. All right, so at this point, we're just about done with the whole build. We've got our lights mounted, we've got our light bars on the front of the truck, and we've got our wiring ran back to this point. Now, it's up to you if you want to use the harness that comes with this rack or not. We switched things up a little bit on our lighting build, and we're also doing lights that have halos built in, and so I opted to just make a harness quick. If you want to go that route, you can. It's totally up to you. At this point in time in the build, you're going to find that you're doing a lot of customization on your own and figuring things out for yourself. So, for example, on this truck, we have the upfitter switch package, which is really sweet. And if you don't have it and you haven't bought a truck yet, you should definitely get it with the upfitter switches. It is well worth it. So, at this point, I'm going to extend all of these wires long enough to reach up in the upfitter switch area of the truck. It's by the driver's side firewall in the engine bay. There's a bunch of factory wires, and it's really sweet. I really like it. We'll show you guys what that's all about. All of the wiring is running into the storage compartment on the top of the rack. Now take your wiring from the top of the rack and run it down to the bottom of the rack where there's a little opening for it to pass through. You can now pass it underneath the truck and into your engine bay. There's plenty of existing wire harnesses to follow. You really don't have to invent the wheel here. You can just follow some wiring that's already ran safely from the factory. Now, if you're running switches on the inside of the truck that are your own or your custom switches or anything like that, your instructions are going to vary a little bit different from what we're doing here. We have the upfitter switch package, which I highly recommend, and that gives us 6 wire outputs from those switches on the inside of the truck out here. We are using the Vision X relay harnesses to supply our light bars with power. We're going to activate them with the upfitter switches in the cab. The reason we're not running them directly off the switch is these Vision X light bars, the XPR series, pull a lot of power each. They're about 35 amps each. That's a lot. That is not a weak Chinese cheap light bar. That is the real deal. So in an effort to keep everything working properly, we're going to use these big relays that Vision X supplied us with. Now, we've got our red and our black wire coming in from the rack that supplies our light bars with power. We're going to strip that back here and we're going to just reconnect it to the relay harnesses. The reason we did it this way is we had to extend it. The harnesses just simply weren't long enough from Vision X to get us all the way back and up to the rack and almost back to the windshield. You know, we're talking 20 feet of wire at least. So extending it's not a big deal, and I would expect to do that if you're thinking about tackling a job like this. Essentially what we're doing here is just soldering up all the wiring that we passed from the rear of the truck forward. Depending on what you did back there, you might have something that looks a little bit different. If you did a crazier reverse light setup, if you did different pods, maybe you only did half the lighting that we're doing. It really depends on your build, but overall the process remains the same. Get your stuff mounted, get your length that you need for wire, and run it forward. Now at this point, go ahead and take your relays, zip tie them upright so you don't get any water or anything like that in them, and make your battery connections. These relays need power and ground to operate, so go ahead and connect those eyelets now. These bars behind me are absolutely ridiculous. The pod lights are great, but really what we're here for are those XPR long distance light bars. They're absolutely amazing. They're some of the heaviest light bars on the market today. They're definitely not for amateurs. If you're the real deal, if you really want the brightest lights on the market, Vision X is the way to go, and your friends at Headlight Revolution have them. So visit us at our website, www.headlightrevolution. We've got the entire Vision X catalog, and we'd be more than happy to help you out with that. Thanks for watching.